You know that voice in your head saying there has to be more than this? What if you actually listen to it? The Secret Life of TK Dutes follows TK, artist, producer, dreamer, as she does exactly that, navigating life on her own terms, from airports to dentist offices to crossing borders. Each episode drops you into a new world through this groundbreaking, loose autobiography told in a community of voices. It's raw, authentic, and it's about doing you. As TK puts it, a better life can be a hustle. It doesn't have to be a secret. Follow TK for more of her secret life at tastyquiche.com/secretlifepod, on Instagram at tastyquiche, and Philos Future Media. Listen to The Secret Life of TK Dutes on all major podcast platforms today. And while you're there, be sure to rate, review, and comment. Welcome to the 4th season of Heard, Afros Audio Interview Series. Today, my guest is Leo Rochelle. How are you?
I am good. I'm so happy to be here. Super happy and excited to be interviewed by the greatest.
I appreciate that, and I'm happy to interview one of the greatest. So let's get into it. Yeah. So for people meeting you for the first time, how do you describe who you are and the work you do in your own words?
Oh, that's always hard. And I even had to come up with a word that describes what I do and who I am. So the word that I came up with is that I am a creative culture curator, because I curate so many different things that have to do with creativity, but it's an easier way to explain all of the things I do instead of running each individual thing down. And then if they ask what that consists of, then I go into the full spiel of things. But I am a creative culture curator, I'm a creative consultant, or a podcast producer. Either of those work.
Right. And you're a founder of PGC Media, which didn't start as a full ecosystem like it is now. It started somewhere smaller. And what was the original spark behind the Phat Girl Chronicles, and what were you responding to at the time in your life?
So the original spark, it did not even start as the Phat Girl Chronicles. It started as Chocolate Chat with Miss T. So it was just something for me to do, some way for me to have conversations and talk about the things that were on my brain or on my heart at the time. Because I needed an outlet. I needed a way to just vent. And whatever that looked like, whatever that felt like, without judgment. Because I didn't care what anybody thought. These are my thoughts. These are my feelings. This is my space to get my things off my chest. And it started 2011 on BlogTalk Radio. So if nobody knows what BlogTalk Radio is, it's the OG platform for vloggers and podcasters before podcasters was really the term. So it started in 2011, and it was just a way for me to vent. And it transitioned from there. And this is when I lived back home in Gary. It started there, and as I moved throughout the world, then things changed, and my focus changed, and my overall goal changed. And so the Phat Girl Chronicles came about, I'm going to say probably about 2016, 2017. And that's when I started doing radio as the Phat Girl Chronicles. And then as things shifted within the radio space, then I moved into podcasting and had to figure all the things out. I was like, oh, Lord, what is podcasting? How am I going to fit? What do I need to do? How am I going to shift? How am I going to land in this space? And I think I landed pretty well. So it started then about 2016, 2017, and then became an official business in 2019.
Nice. Congratulations on the evolution.
Yeah.
But I want to step back just a little bit because I had another conversation with someone, and we're talking about the glory years of BlogTalk Radio. And there were certain creators on that space that I remember pretty vividly that made, like you said, podcasting possible. We were hearing them, and it was like, what is this? This is interesting. So it was the beginning seeds of this. How did you discover BlogTalk Radio?
I started deep diving in Google, and BlogTalk was one of the bigger platforms back then. So I started in radio and broadcasting in high school. So after high school and all those years later, BlogTalk was one of the biggest platforms at that time. So I dived in
Okay.
head first, looked on the platform, learned the ins and outs. And I'm a nerd to an extent. Nobody knows. So I geek out on things like that. I geek out on learning the ins and out of systems and processes and all of that. So learning the back end of Blog Talk was fun, engaging. So that's how I found it. Searching for a place for my voice to be able to be heard. So Blog Talk was the one that came up. It was the biggest one. And I can't remember if there were other people using it at the time, but after I started using it, maybe a year or so later, I started finding more people that were using it. And it was really dope to hear other people's shows. And I always say if Blog Talk would have kept up with the motion and the movement, they would be an amazing platform these
Absolutely.
days.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And just one last question about that. Were you specifically looking for a platform for you to do audio? Were you looking for video? Were you looking for blogging? Somewhere you could write?
I was looking for a
Oh,
place for
interesting.
audio
Okay.
because I had a WordPress site at the time that I was also using for writing. So I also wanted to speak. There was a push and a need for me to speak. I was like, yeah, I got to find somewhere I can talk. I don't want to just write about
Yeah.
it, but I want to talk about the things. I want my voice to be heard. And so finding the audio platform and doing it in conjunction with the blog was really
Yeah.
dope at that
That's
time.
intriguing. And I'm starting to put the dots together with your experience is that you already had a audio first, voice first experience with radio. So you already knew what that was about. And
Yeah.
someone who, like,
Yes.
I didn't come from that world. So I'm like, you knew that it was something that was just for audio? Duh, radio. Of course you did. Yeah, no, that's really dope and pioneering here with beginning podcasting in 2011. Most of us started
Yeah.
really feeling like we was doing something 2016, 2017. So I'm always like, wow, you said you started in 2004? How did that work? But okay, cool.
Right.
Yeah.
2004.
People are like,
Wow. I
yeah.
can
So it's
imagine.
just really dope to hear the beginnings of what we now know as podcasts and podcast industry
Yeah.
and how it's grown. And then I'm also curious where you said, I came in here to vent, to release my frustrations, whatever it was, but this is the place I want to just like talk. Because if I'm feeling it, somebody else is probably feeling it. And that's the impetus to even start this. Did it support you? Did it meet what you wanted to gain from it by going on to Blog Talk Radio and expressing yourself in that way?
It did. It gave me the opportunity to vent, but it also gave me room to learn a lot about myself as I was venting. It gave me the space to get the things off my chest, navigate those spaces. Like, okay, so why are you dealing with this? And it was a conversation with myself a lot of times. If nobody was tuning in or nobody was listening, I was talking to myself. And to talk to yourself, then go back and listen to it, it's like,
Yeah.
okay. So developing that and listening, it taught me how to embrace my voice, embrace my story, because there are so many people in the world who feel as though their story is not necessary. And everybody's story is necessary. Will everybody's story be heard? No. But everybody's story is necessary because of community and the people that are around you and all of those kind of things. Your story is necessary because we're all different parts of the same tree. And without that branch there is some missing fruit. There is some missing pieces of the puzzle that won't be heard, that won't be understood. Your story might not be heard on a grand scale, but it may be heard by the person next to you, the person that you work with, or people that know you in close company. So your story is necessary because it's going to either be a lesson or more of an influence towards somebody's life. So it absolutely taught me all of the things I needed. And I think that's why it's so hard for me to give up when every time I want to just throw in the towel, give somebody the mics and the computers and all of that kind of stuff. It's part of the reason why I can't give up, because there are so many stories to be heard and so many layers of our world. And it's amazing. So I think it absolutely taught me all of
Absolutely.
those
And you've
things.
got 15 years of legacy, and I'm sure it wasn't consecutive. You might have taken some breaks and
Yeah.
some year gaps in here, but you still started 15 years ago. And the fact that you're still showing up on the
Yeah.
mic, that says a lot. It says a lot about the medium, but also
Yeah.
really about the expression.
Yeah, because I've been a talker my whole life.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things. I feel as though it came along
Mm-hmm.
with the territory. In high school, I did theater, I did choir. I've been singing my whole life. I've been in choir since elementary school, so that was part of the territory. I did theater, and I was a sound engineer when I did theater in high school. I set up all the things. And the more I started to think about my journey, I'm like, all of this stuff was happening even before I got
Mm-hmm.
into podcasting. And so it was like, you know what? I see what you did there.
Yeah.
This was all part of a greater scheme. And so that's why I can't stop. That's why I
Yeah.
can't let it
Yeah.
go. So I'm excited about being in this for so long. The last couple of months we've taken a break, and during that time frame is what brought the realization to life that it's part of a greater
Mm-hmm.
scheme, and that I've been doing this for so long. And I'm like, man, okay, girl, you've been doing something. You just have to change the perspective and cleanse the lens
Yeah.
so you
Yeah.
can
Get
fully see
clear.
your
Yeah.
story.
Clear about what's
Yeah.
next. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. And
Yeah.
you are the epitome of true to this, not new to this. So that's what's up. That's what's up. All right. So you center plus size voices, black culture, confidence, pleasure, healing. What made you say this is the space I'm going to stand in and build around those narratives?
Because they're all part of who I am. I'm a plus size black woman with a loud voice. And I know how important our community is. Not just plus size community, but the black and brown communities. I know how important our impact is, our voices are, our stories are. And the more you talk to people, the more you learn that there are so many people looking for a space to go and not have to be so buttoned up and so pristine and polished and all of those kind of things, because I don't see myself as very pristine or polished.
Mm-hmm.
I'm me. This is my level of professionalism. Like I
Yeah.
cuss a little and all of those kind of things. And so I wanted it to be a space where people could feel like they were kicking it with the family, where they were coming to have a conversation with their big sister, with their big cousin, with their aunties, with their uncles, and all of that. And so I knew there were some things that I didn't get to have. I didn't get to have those conversations about pleasure and desire and all of those kind of things with my aunties, because, you know, they
Mm-hmm.
old school. So I wanted those spaces where we can take down that judgment, we can take down that shame, we can take down that guilt, and really get to the root of some of the conversations that we're already having anyway. We're just not having them in a space where it's educational or where we're learning or where we have the space to say, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. Because for whatever reason, in the world that we live in now, everybody wants to be an expert at everything. You're not an expert. It's okay to say you don't know. It's okay. And so now we can have conversations about what we don't know. And we can bring in some people who know
Yeah.
a little bit more, or people who don't know like we don't know. And we could talk about the things that we don't know and how we plan to learn about those things. So that was the whole reason. I knew who I was and what I was looking for. And I wanted to create that space for not just myself, but for people like me and people who needed a space to be
Mm-hmm.
amongst family. So that's what we call our audience, our Phat Fam, PHAMILY. So
Nice.
yeah, that's what I wanted to do. And it's been blossoming beautifully.
Yeah, it has. Absolutely, it has. Affirming that for sure. And you've already talked about and touched on the fact that you started Blog Talk Radio, solo show, and now you've moved into what's now a network. So you've grown the shows from one show into a
Yeah.
multi-show platform. with live experiences and digital products. When did you realize this was bigger than a podcast and needed to become a network?
So I've never been a small vision girl. What Manny Fresh say, cars real big, clothes real big, everything real big. That's how I think about things. Like I think about things on a grand scale and I want to do everything big. And I believe it was like year one, almost going into year two, where I started to recognize that this could be more than just one show. This could be more than one type of show, more than one conversation. And during that first year that we actually came back, where we had multi co-hosts on the show, I started creating t-shirts and things because we needed something that held us all together, because none of us lived in the same area. We were in 4 different cities when we came together in 2020. So we needed merch, we needed a logo and all of those things. And my background in business and all of those kind of things told me we need something to solidify who we are, what we're doing, and how we're planning to move forward. And so I started creating merch. I found somebody that could do it, that saw my vision, that can catch my flow. And I've been rocking and rolling with her since 2019, since we became an official business. I've been rocking and rolling with her ever since. It's hard to find somebody who can catch all of the craziness from this brain and say, don't worry about it, I got you. And she's been doing exactly that since I met her. So the building of the merch and just seeing how we could penetrate the market even further. Because even though we're doing multi-shows now, that's not even the end of it, because I have audio dramas and all of these other kind of things that I have in mind for what PGC Media is going to bring and build out. So I'm just excited to connect with people that can help me bring those visions to life.
Of course.
So, yeah.
And speaking of community, you talk about building community, not just numbers. What does community actually look like in practice for you? And what tells you it's real?
Oh, community. When people can feel like it's okay to hop in my inbox and have a conversation with me. Hey girl, how you doing? Or just hopping in my inbox and talking about the things that they have going on with their life. That's community. Because some people hop in my inbox and I don't know them from Adam's house cat. Hey, you got a minute to talk? I'm like, sure. And then once I recognize who they are or where I know them from, and we're able to have a conversation, and sometimes it's just because people just need somebody that they feel like they can talk to that doesn't feel like they're going to get a lecture. I'm not going to lecture you. I'm not even going to judge you. I'm going to lean in and be like, tell me more about this problem or this situation. And I think I missed my calling as a therapist, but I love that part of building community and people knowing what we do and how we go about doing it, that they feel just as comfortable saying, oh, this is my homegirl. Let me ask her, or let me hop in her inbox. And so I've had people do that from time to time. And it's just been like, oh, you trusted me. Of all the people on the socials and all of those things, you came to me. So that says a lot about not just how I present myself, but what we do. And even further is that when people are in need or things are going left in life, because life is always life, and they reach out and say, hey, can you help? And I'm like, sure. But also let's put this information here, because there are other people that may be willing to help as well. And I always try to give back. That's always been ingrained in me. My mother was that woman. She was actually a missionary at church and all of those kind of things. And she was everybody's mama in the hood. So that has always stuck with me, deeply ingrained in me. So I've always loved that part of building and growing, because that's who my mother was. She was a community builder. She used to work at Value City. She would be in the store buying stuff. And I'm like, where's this going? None of us can wear this. Oh, one of the kids at the church could probably wear it or something. One of the kids in the neighborhood. Okay, lady, put it in the cart. And so that has always been ingrained in me. So I feel like it's my turn to give in the way that she gave, and to do exactly what she did, but in a way that's fitting for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And you create spaces where people feel safe to be vulnerable, as you've already mentioned. Folks hitting you in your DMs randomly. That's not an easy thing to even curate those type of spaces and that sort of openness. So how do you set the tone so people know they can show up honestly?
Being authentic. When life is good, I post it. When life is bad, I post it. When I'm trying to figure things out, I post it. And I think people just rock with that because we see enough people on social media who only post the good, who only post the perfect picture, or who only post the perfect circumstances. I'm going to post it all. I talk about my journey in therapy and how that's helped me. I talk about my losses, my grief, my depression and anxiety, all of those things, because I know I'm not the only one dealing with it. And when we get more real about the things that we are actually dealing with in life and not the fairy tale story, we become more relatable. And then people take us off of this level and it evens it out so that now you see me as an actual person and not somebody to fan out over when you see me in public. Because that is the weirdest thing ever. Like, it's happened and it is so weird. And I'm like, I'm just me. But I'm grateful that you see me in that way, but I'm just me. But making sure that the stories, the information that I put out, that you see the fullness of the woman that I am, not just the business and things like that, that you see all of me and understand that even though I'm building this business, I'm still a person and I still have my own life and all of this other kind of stuff going on over here. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's super important.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a tendency to think that folks that are in the front of the room, on the mic, or what have their shit together somehow, some way, more so than the next person. And I'm like, just because I'm standing here, be very clear that I still have a lot more shit to get together than you think.
Listen,
Because this is all a
absolutely.
process. We are all simply becoming day after day, figuring out who we are, figuring out what we like, what we don't like, trying to figure out how to do more of what we want and
Yes.
less of what we don't want, building our confidence. It's something that every experience, every interaction, every engagement changes us and shapes us. And when you put somebody and you stick them to the last time you saw them, it doesn't allow space for, yeah, but I tripped and fell and bust my head yesterday and now I know not to go down that sidewalk no more. I just learned something yesterday that you don't know about.
Listen.
Yeah.
Yes, and I'm a totally different person than
Right.
3 months ago. I mean,
Yeah, now I'm sticking a tooth in my mouth
yep.
that I didn't have 3 months ago.
Okay. That you don't even
Right, right.
know about
Right,
regularly,
right. So,
okay? I am using
exactly.
Fixodent, okay?
Exactly. So it's like, yeah, I'm just saying I resonate with that a lot. And
Yeah.
although we have done the work to be where we are, and kudos, congratulations, we've done the work, we're here. None of us are any different. We all have access to the same thing, which is the decision to do something with our lives or not. The decision to heal
Or not.
or
Yeah.
not. The decision to
Or not.
grow or not. Stay invisible or do something about it. We all have that
Yeah.
access. And I like to believe that people being able to bear witness to your growth, even from 2011, that's like all the evidence you need that folks evolve, they grow. You probably listen to something in 2011, you like, I don't even know why I was on that. Like, why I even gave a shit about that. But I did. Yeah.
Listen.
But hell
But
yeah.
I did. But I
Yeah.
did. Yeah. I have some of those old recordings because before they started to go down, I was like, oh no, I want all of my shit. And so I went and
Yeah.
got all of it. And it was a light bulb moment like, okay, I've been doing this whole inner child thing or
Mm-hmm.
former self. But that may be a good reason to go listen to some of them to figure out, like, what was I on in 2011? What was I back here
Yeah.
talking about? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, for
huh?
sure. People don't know this. I'm saying it for the first time, but I'm a journaler. I journal. And my daughter is big on
Yes.
journaling, so she's always like, don't forget to journal. And I'm like, I did forget, but I'll go now. And it's like some of it is the writings of a madman, and then some of it is like, I'm growing up, doing better now.
Okay? Because we all need to mile
Yeah.
out and go crazy, because trying to stay sane is a duty within itself. And if the only place that you become a madman is in a notebook,
I'll take it. Yeah,
go
I'll
for
take
it.
For sure.
Because there's people out here being mad in
Oh,
the
yeah.
world for real. So if you only being mad in a journal,
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
take
it's
that.
very cathartic, and that's the same thing with this mic, right? We are expressing our
absolutely.
inner world, our inner workings, everything externally, and allowing people the privilege, because it's definitely not a right to be all up in my business. I'm giving you the privilege of knowing and giving you pieces of me and this thing that we call life.
Yeah.
And these journeys that we all go on. And some of us know more about another person than others. More people know my name than I know theirs, which is interesting.
Yeah.
But as an evolution in life, because who would have thought it? I didn't think that this would ever
Yeah.
be my experience in life. I'm sure there's certain aspects of yours where it's like, who would have thought I'd be here? And so all of that is good to note and to be able to look back on and say, wow, you did that. Proud of you, bruh. Yeah. And speaking of that, you're expanding into fashion, events, lifestyle. As things grow, what helps you protect the culture and the trust you've already built?
I try my best to protect the culture of all the things that I do, because I always go back and bring those times forward, to keep pulling it forward. Because we can't talk about what we have now if we don't talk about what we had then. We can't talk about the spaces that we're creating if we don't look at the spaces that were created for us. And those are the ways that I keep trying to make sure it's relevant, it's powerful, because everything that we do to some extent is capable because of a Black person, because of our ancestors, because of the people that came before us. So I'm always, especially in fashion, I am always trying to find where the Black people at, where we at, because I need Black clothing, shoes, art, all of those things. But even in the shows that we have or the topics that we discuss, we're going to talk about Black things. We're going to talk about the things that affect the Black and brown and all of that, because I don't know anybody else's experience. I know mine as a Black woman. And so then I bring in Black men and brown women so that we can talk about those things. So I work really hard to make sure that we are a well-rounded group. And then just continuing to make sure that my authenticity is at the forefront of everything. I feel like that's how I've built the trust with the people that follow us, because they know I'm not going to sugarcoat it or be fake or any of that. And so they know that the things that we talk about, I'm going to be 100%. I'm going to be real, what I know and what I don't know. And if I don't know it, baby, you trust and believe the next time you come back, I got my whole notebook and I'm pulling it. Like, and I geek out, I go down rabbit holes and all of those kind of things when it's something I don't know. So people trust that I'm going to do that. They see me do it on camera. I will literally go, hold on, let me see. Let's look into this, and pull out my phone and start diving in right on the show, because I'm like, wait, I've never heard that. So let's talk about it a little further. So those are the ways that I make sure that everything that we do is authentic, it's real, and it's informative. Because I want people to leave with a lesson or at least something new. Because you're supposed to learn something every day. Why not learn something with me?
For sure. And it really does speak to your care and your concern for your audience, the listener's experience, the viewer's experience. And also speaking about your curiosity that allows other people to want to hopefully learn a little bit more too, and not just say, I don't know, or this is what I heard, and so we're going to just run with that. And there's a responsibility there in that. And sometimes when you say responsibility, it's like it's got to be stiff or stuffy or anything like that. You're proving that I have a responsibility here, but I'm still going to have some fun with it. It's going to be entertaining.
Absolutely. Because as media personalities, and that's what I like to try to get people to change the scope of how they title what they do. You're not just a podcaster, you're a media personality. You're somebody who people go to find out information, whether your podcast is current events or your podcast is just informational in whatever aspect, lifestyle, entertainment, all of those kind of things. So you have a duty to bring information that is not divisive. I hate divisive conversations because why? What's the point? What are we doing? How is that serving the greater good, or how is that serving us as a whole community of people? It's not. So we have a duty to bring information, to spread joy. It's part of our duty. And it's also part of our duty to give people hope. We're hope dealers in a for real way. And so whether you are sad when you start out watching this show, by the end of it, I hope you're not. Or if you still sad, I hope you're not as sad as you were when you came in, that we cracked the joke, it got a little funny, it got a little real. And over that time space that you were like, okay, life not as hard as, as I thought it was. It's still hard and I'm still sad. But this lightened the mood to help me to be able to navigate things better. That's all we all ask for, really, is the opportunity to have our load lightened. And it doesn't always mean that somebody has to do something for you tangible. It could just be the energy that you bring. So that's also our responsibility as well, is to come with an energy of service. That's what we're doing. We're providing a service. And not all of us have a servant's heart, but I try to make sure that mine is always in that vein of things. And so that's how I make sure I try to show up all the time.
You do. Yes, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you've said success for you is transformation, not just metrics. Can you share a moment where someone's response made you realize the work was landing the way that you hoped?
Yes. In the comments on a couple of shows, we have people that tune in regularly, and they always say, "Ooh, thank you for my Tuesday night therapy. Thank you for my Tuesday night therapy. Ooh, thank you for my Friday night therapy," because people enjoy PGC After Dark just as much as they enjoy the Phat Girl Chronicles on Tuesday. Thank you for my therapy. Thank you for helping me to see this differently. And I'm like, oh, that was the goal. I'm glad. And to have our show be referred to as therapy for some people, I'm like, oh man. And I don't take that lightly, which is why I don't take the conversations we have lightly, or the things that we bring to the forefront lightly. Nah, because this is somebody's therapy. And people literally set aside time to watch us and get mad when we're not on, when they expect us to be on. They like, wait, y'all not on tonight? Nah, we on a break. And we were on a break for like 2 months. The inboxes were like, so when y'all coming back? What's happening? What's going on here? It's been 2 months. I needed some therapy. I needed a little bit of relaxation and regrouping, but that's how I am able to see how what we do is impactful, because the people are there. I don't care if it's 2 people in the comments while we're doing our show. They are there. They are gaining something. They are gathering something. And then the comments help me to understand how impactful this show was. The comments get hilarious. They go way left, just like the host, just like the co-host. And I love it because they feel that sense of comfortability to be able to do that as well.
Yes, absolutely. So, I've been on the show, and it was a great conversation. I count it as one of my favorites that I was able to go on.
Yay.
And so while we're talking about the co-hosts, go ahead and shout them out real quick.
Oh, shout out to Anisha, Moses, Pablo, Ayla, Regina, and Dewana. Those are the ones on both shows, on PGC After Dark and PGC Tuesdays. I'm so grateful for them because, listen, the information that they have, but also the insight they bring, the wild moments that we have, I'm like, my goodness. And one of my favorite co-hosts that is no longer with us because life has shifted for him in a great way, The Mouth. Delano is his real name, but he goes by The Mouth. And he's been rocking and rolling with PGC for the first 5 years, and life recently shifted, so he's no longer with us. But shout out to him as well, because he was here at the beginning and rode it all the way through. So I'm grateful to him. But I'm also grateful to the people that work behind the scenes. My best friend, Marcy Gunn. When I say my best friend is ride or die, she shows up for everything. What you need me to do. That's all she asks. What you need me to do, where you need me to be. And sometimes she doesn't even ask that. This is what I'm going to do. You go over there and do something else. And so I'm always grateful
That's
for
awesome.
that.
Yeah, it's so important. We talk about community all the time. And I know even for myself, I speak about it as an external aspect, something I'm creating for others. And being able to consider the support system and the inner circle that you have, right, is its own community that I couldn't even be able to create something externally if I didn't have what I needed over here. Yeah.
If I didn't have it. Yeah.
Yeah. Respect.
Yeah. And shout out to
Yeah.
my siblings, because woo,
They got you too.
they are the reason I'm still here.
Yeah.
So they're the reason I'm still here. So shout out to them for always being the extra push, the extra foot in the butt, all of that. Thank y'all for being that too, because I honestly do not know where I would be without them.
For sure. It's important to acknowledge.
Yeah.
And publicly sometimes. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So I got to tell you, we're in a short form world, but you still value long form trust. How do you decide what belongs in a quick clip versus a full conversation?
Oh, the quick clips, they really do challenge me. Okay. And a lot of times I put the cliffhangers in a short clip so that it'll push somebody to go watch the long form. The crazy moments kind of trigger somebody to say, what caused this to happen? There are those moments, or the wild things that are said depending on the conversation. I put those in the clip. So now you got to go figure out the beginning of that story, and then you got to see where the story went after the fact. So those have been working for me, or even the impactful emotional moments are really great clips for me as well. And I'm even learning more about building out clips or creating the clips, because I'm like, some of this just seems random. But also the random seems to work depending on the platform or the person. So I've been testing it all, and the middle part of a conversation is usually what pulls people in to fully go watch the rest of it. So it's like, wait, what was this about? So I'm okay with that.
Smart strategy. I like that. Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Yeah.
I know for me, social media is challenging, but I'm also a Gen Xer. I started with rotary phones. So, like, what the hell is this? And why do I got to do it?
Okay.
But,
get somebody else
so
to do
feels,
it. Yes.
I know for me, not projecting anything on anyone else, but I know for me, when it starts to feel like I'm, like, marketing something when I just want to be, or like, just read my mind already, or just know what I'm trying to say without me having to post about it. And it doesn't work that way, unfortunately. Yeah.
But I get it. I totally get it.
It's a challenge.
Yeah. Because sometimes you don't want to have to figure out how to say what it is that you really want to say, where people can understand it, feel it, and respond.
I'd rather do those things in conversation. And it's not even like podcasting for me. I've done my solo thing now with the Grumpy Wisdom podcast, and that's something that I was like, I don't know if I'll ever be able to just talk to myself. I'm used to talking to myself, but not like that.
Yeah.
But, so it's almost like just social media for me is, I see people who vent on there or rant or call people out. I hate subbing. When people say things that they're not saying to the actual person, they're just saying it on social media, like the 100 people that are following them know who they're talking about or why.
Yeah.
I just think that's some bogus stuff, but it happens, and it's what social media is today. But all of those things, I know that I'm just being an old grumpy ass, and I just don't want to do it.
Listen, and I don't even think you being old and grumpy. It's just like, come on, man. Come on, let's be a little bit more realistic about what we're doing here. Like, cut to the chase. It's really what we're trying to say. Absolutely, cut to the chase. Now, I don't want to have to read your sister-in-law, baby cousin Tracy page in order to figure out what's really being talked about over here. I don't want to do it. So let's cut to the chase. Just post it all right here so I can not go down
Yeah,
the
and now
hole
you're seeing
of
it on TikTok,
things.
these
Yeah.
whole 30-part stories, which is its own thing. And I guess all I'm saying is that social media has its place, and when we have businesses, it is almost like responsibility. If I didn't have a business, you would not see me on social media, but it's necessary. And so it's smart and it's important to be able to figure out this piece of the game. All of this is a board game,
Yeah.
and we've got to navigate it and we've got to figure out how to play it to our benefit.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what it
Yeah.
is. As it evolves, we too must evolve. So here we are, and you are figuring it out. And I love that strategy that you're doing, because it all should pull them back to the long form. Yeah.
The long form.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's necessary. So you said
Yeah.
audience expect creators to stand for something. What do you refuse to compromise on as you build PGC Media?
Oh, I refuse to just talk about trash or BS just because that's what other people are doing. That works for them.
Yeah.
It doesn't work for me. I'm not going to be fake because I can care less about what Nicki Minaj is doing or all of those kind of things. And so I'm not going to navigate into all of the trending things. Like, that's not who I am. I don't follow trends, and I could care less about Tory Lanez and Meg the Stallion. So, I'm like, all of the popular things, that's not me. I don't talk about those things. But if we're going to talk about music and we're going to talk about people in music, we're going to talk about some real things. We're going to talk about vinyl. We're going to talk about old school. And so I love those things. I love what I love, but I also know what my audience wants. They don't want that because they can go get that on other platforms. They can go get all of that information elsewhere. They know what they're looking for and they know what they're going to get when they come over here. And I refuse to just do it because, oh, this is what's making people go viral. My audience is going to get what they're going to get. Maybe I'm not meant to go viral with talking about this subject, but those who need it, going to get it. And I'm okay with that. I'm just not in a space of compromising my integrity for the sake of being popular or being the it video for now. Because tomorrow it'll be something else. And then I'll be sitting here crying because now I'm not viral no more. What are we talking about? So yeah, I've gone viral before. It's not that fun. It's cool. But a lot of people have their judgments too. Then you're having to defend yourself, your judgment, your looks, your opinion. You got to defend so many things when people are at your forefront like that. If I go viral, I want it to be for something positive. I want it to be for something important and something
Yeah,
of
and I
value.
think what's really the gold about your content and what you do is that folks don't really recognize that being trendy or going with the topic of the day is not really something that can be maintained across your content. If you're
Yeah.
thinking long term, that is a really short term strategy, because as you said, these news cycles are going to come and go. And if you pretend to care about it today and you really don't care about it, then how do you maintain your content for longer than this lasts? Because you don't actually give a shit. You're just trying to appeal an audience that
Yeah.
really isn't your audience, because your audience is the folks who follow you because they know who you are and why you're there, not because of the
Yep.
topic that you chose.
Yeah. And then even when you do that, your audience at some point is going to be able to tell that you don't care because it's going to come through with how you talk about it. Because eventually you're going to go, yeah, so today, and your energy is not going to pour into that topic. You're not going to be excited about it. Everything about what you're putting out is going to show through your energy. And that's why I say we got a responsibility to show up in a certain way. And I even tell my team that if you're not feeling good or you can't come with your good energy, then don't come. Because I don't want you on the screen
Yeah,
like this for the whole time that we're on the show. No, bring your energy. Because what we put out on camera, how we talk, or what we say is going to impact somebody else. And even if you are tired, because I remember life was life, and during season 2 at one point, and I didn't want to do the show. Nobody wants to do the show. I was like, we're going to do it anyway. And we did the show, and we laughed because everybody looked like life was taking them through the ringer. And we laughed about it. And I think we titled the show MF and Tired. And we just talked about how life had been taking us through the ringer, and it's real, and we're tired, and we're not going to be on here long. We just wanted to get on here so we could talk and tell y'all we're not going to be on here long. And I think that show was like 30 minutes, 45 minutes top, and we was like, we out. Love y'all. Good night. And that was that. But it was to give our audience an understanding, like, we here, but we're tired. So we just going to give y'all this little bit for tonight, and then we're going to go on about our business. We're going to go on and take a break, and we'll be back. So we was just letting y'all know this before we just disappeared for 2 weeks or whatever. So they look for, and they appreciate the honesty. People appreciate the honesty more than anything. Don't come on here being fake. Don't come on here lying. People know, and they can tell when you are lying, or when you don't care, or when you're not excited, or when you're faking the funk. Because it's just something about that energy, that light, all of that kind of stuff that comes through people. And I pay attention to certain things like that. I'm an audible person. So even when I'm talking to people, I be like, what's wrong? And they be like, nothing. You're lying, but I'm going to let you go ahead and lie until you want to tell me. That's why I like having conversations and talking, because I learn people through their voice, their tonage, all of those kind of things. And okay, keep lying to me. But I also can feel your spirit, and I can feel when your energy is off and all of those kind of things. So I'm very intuitive in that way. And I love that about me, because it ain't too many people that can get away with lying to me about stuff like that.
That's a superpower, for sure.
Yeah.
For someone listening who wants to build community around their own voice or platform, what's the first thing they need to get honest about before they start, in your opinion?
Who you are and what you give to the world. That's your baseline. Who you are and what you give to the world, and what your why is. What's your reason for starting? Because if your reason is superficial, you aren't going to be able to sustain anything. Your why has to literally be rooted, because you're not going to always want to show up. You're not going to always want to be present. So you got to find something that's bigger than you. You're not bigger than the program. So you got to find something that's bigger than you and stick to it, and go back to it when you realize, like, I don't want to do this no more. Go back to your why. And if you are no longer rooted in that why, or those roots are dry, it's okay to change. It's okay to say, I don't want to do this anymore. But don't just say, I don't want to do this anymore because you feel like you're failing, or because you're not progressing in the way that you thought you were or should have been. You take a moment, go back to that why, regroup, figure out who you are, who you're becoming, all of those kind of things. Because you can't build anything sustainable if you cannot be rooted in who you are, why you're doing this thing.
Yeah.
If you're doing it for the wrong reasons, trust me, it is going to fizzle very fast. And you're going to be like, dang, okay, on to something new. And then that next thing is going to fizzle. And now you like, wait, what's happening? So you got to have a reason outside of, I want to go viral or I want to make money. Because if that was the case, I would have gave up a long time ago. If that was the case, I would have gave up a long time ago. There has to be a passion and a desire to see something grow from what you're doing other than your wallet.
For sure. And as you think about the future for PGC Media, for yourself even, what's the big dream now?
I'm still working on it. And that's why we've been on a break for 2 months. Because I've been trying to figure out what's next, how to grow, how to shift, how to keep everything rolling. And we just came back last week. So I'm still journaling to get all my thoughts on paper and having conversations with people that are, if you always feel like you're the smartest one in the room, change the room you're in. So I like having conversations with people that can help me to see the things that I may not see, or the potential that PGC or I may have that I'm not seeing either. And so that's been helping me to navigate that unknown funkiness and all of that kind of stuff too.
That's important. And have you been able to find that support?
Yeah, somewhat. I'm still, listen, you was on the list. I was away.
Got time for you whenever you're ready.
Listen, I was working my way. But yeah, it's been that kind of thing. And then just some of the people I've had conversations with, I've had to sit with them and like, okay, okay. Because even our conversation after Afros and Audio has stuck with me through this break and has helped me to sustain and maintain when I'm like, yeah, let's close it up.
Yeah.
And being a multi creative, sometimes it's hard to pick a lane because you don't want to seem scattered or all over the place, but then also it's just who you are. So trying to make peace with that, make peace with the fact that I'm never going to be able to ride one lane. I don't ride one lane on the highway. So I'm okay. I'm learning to be okay with the fact that I may look a little bit all over the place, but all of my things speak to who I am as a person. And that's been the biggest thing in this break and in this time frame. But then just piecing it all together and doing the background work that should have been laid a while ago and all of those kind of things. It's coming together.
Yeah, but should is a
Yeah.
judgment. You right on time for where you are right now. And can't no one say that you haven't been exploring and figuring it out. And since life is a series of experimenting and experiences, it's going to come. But you can't do it.
Yeah.
You can't do it not exploring, not seeing where to go and picking up every rock and throwing
Absolutely.
it. If it's in you, it's for you. So you got it.
Picking up a few boulders too.
Day,
okay.
All day. It's exciting to see what you're doing. And of course, I haven't been there since the beginning, but I have been around for, I would say 5 years at least of your journey. Yeah. And definitely have seen you grow in this space.
5 years already?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Right? 5 years. You just said that. I'm like, that is 5 years. Yeah. That's crazy.
And we've seen how this industry has evolved and has changed people. I've had people at the conference 2019, 2020. They're nowhere near podcasts anymore. I look around, I can't even find them. Their email bounces back. Right? That's how far gone they are from what they created.
Yes.
But that's not you. And you're still here. And there's something to be said about that. I'm really looking forward to seeing where you go and continue to grow, and that you were still excited about this space and this work. And I know there's some days where you want to say F this and F y'all. I know I do. But at the end of the day, it's like if I wasn't meant to be in this space, I wouldn't be here. And I am definitely excited about where you're going, where PGC Media is going. And I'm here anytime you want to chop it up and gain some clarity. That's one of my superpowers. I got you. So is there anything else that you want to leave with the folks before I let you go?
Oh, I'm going to leave you all with my favorite quote and how I end out all of my shows. Whatever you do for the rest of the evening and the rest of the week, don't do it with your half ass. Do it with your whole ass. That is my mantra. That's what I say all the time. That's the way I try to live my life, is that I do it with my whole ass. So make sure whatever you pour yourself into, that you give your time and attention to, that it is worth you doing it with your whole ass, not just your half ass. Not nobody like nothing half ass, because you can tell when it's half ass. So do it with your whole ass and enjoy it. Enjoy it. And then have fun.
All right. Tell folks how they can find you online, social media, and all that great stuff.
You can find me at I Am Leah Rochelle on all platforms, and it's Rachel. That's how it's spelled. It's not Rachel, it's Rochelle. You can find me at I Am Leah Rochelle on all platforms. The Phat Girl Chronicles, and it's PHAT, or PGC Media. You can find PGC After Dark as well. And we got a new show coming. It's called Man Cave Conversations. That'll be coming up. We got a few other new things coming down the pipeline. So you can find Man Cave Conversations at Man Cave Conversations. So we out here. We got other stuff coming too. And I'm excited.
Congratulations on all your success, and I wish you much, much more.
Thank you.
And until next time, we'll talk again soon.
Yay. Thank you for having me.